What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you checking in. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed the last 24 hours. It's been eventful. Social media's been blowing up. News media has been going crazy. So, as you guys know, our beloved owner, Mark Davis, finally cut the cord, kind of grew some balls a little bit, and got rid of Josh McDaniels, our head coach, and Dave Ziegler, our general manager. Been a lot of replacements getting put in place. And so it's been about 24 hours, and I kind of want to just give you an update as the day has gone on. I've took a step back and just looked at kind of the presser with our new interim head coach as well as our interim GM, and just wanted to digest it all before I kind of jump on and just start, kind of giving you guys an update and in my opinion on it. So before we jump into it, please, if you could, like the video, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. I'd definitely appreciate it. So last night, Halloween night, just a bomb dropped that Mark Davis pulled the plug and fired Josh McDaniels, and Dave Ziegler relieved them of their duties, and we're moving on. I think it was a collective consensus between Raider Nation, between a lot of the old school alumni Raiders. Tim Brown started to speak out. Charles Woodson started to speak out. I think there was frustration across the board, and so they were notified late last night that they were relieved of their duties. And then this morning, our offensive coordinator on paper, obviously we all know Josh McDaniels called the plays, but our offensive coordinator, uh, Mick Lombardi, he was relieved of his duties. So there was a big question as to who was going to take over the play calling on the offensive side. And so we'll go ahead and get into it. And so, as we all know, Antonio Pierce, our linebacker coach, has taken over as the interim head coach, which I dropped a video last night. I do think that that's a good move, for the situation that we're in. It's been reported that he's well respected within that locker room. He's a ex-player, ex-Pro Bowler, a two-time Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants. And I think he brings that Raider mentality. He brings that, I'm going to take your lunch money type of mindset. And I think that's something that we need. One of the things, I wasn't a fan of the hire of Josh McDaniels, but if you look at just his demeanor, if you look at the way he carries himself, it just wasn't the Raider way. And I think that's what the Raider fan base is kind of itching for, because I'll tell you right now, one player that emulates what the Raider Nation is, what the old school Raider mentality is you could look at Max Crosby, just the way that he is a beast on the field. I think if we get a leader in that locker room, a head coach that can emulate that same type of mentality, I think that's what we need at this point. And so Antonio Pierce was announced as the interim head coach. And then we have Champ Kelly. Look, with a first name like Champ, how can you go wrong? But Champ Kelly has stepped in as the interim general manager. And then when it comes to the play calling duties on offense, Hardegree, which was our quarterback coach, he is going to step up and take the play calling duties. And there's been some talk that he's just been a well respected name across the league. I believe this is his 10th year coaching in the NFL, and there's been some high praise of this kid. And so I'm excited for it. Hopefully he opens up that offense. He kind of takes some of the things that I've been saying for the last 8 weeks when it comes to my pre-game analysis of our upcoming matchup, and just kind of how we need to share that ball, get throw that ball around, get other players involved, get that deep ball going. And one of the things that we heard today is that Aiden O'Connell is going to be the starting quarterback uh, when we play the New York Giants this weekend, which is exciting news. So that kind of sums up where all the pieces are now, right? Antonio Pierce, interim head coach, uh, Bo Hardegree, which is going to be the play caller on offense, and now Champ Kelly is going to be our interim GM. So that's kind of how the puzzle pieces itself together right now. And I did think that there was a couple names that could have been considered as the interim head coach, but one of the things, and I want to give a shout out to one of the people that commented on one of my last videos, and Derek Harris, 1848, you commented that you felt Patrick Graham should, not be given that position and really focus more on that defense. And I'll be honest with you, man, I can't agree with you more. I think as much as I felt like Patrick Graham could have been a a candidate for the interim head coaching job because he just what he's been able to do with his defense and the way that he's been able to um, put this defense together and have them step up to the plate, even though they weren't the ones we really should have relied on because we haven't poured a lot of resources into them and given them a lot of weapons to play with. But they've stepped up and we've been riding their shoulders basically this entire season. I agree with you. So Derek Harris, 1848, I appreciate the comment and I agree with you. I think it would be good if Patrick Graham focused on the defense and just kept his defense rolling, man. So again, I appreciate you. Um, One thing I want to give a shout out to is Mark Davis. That's not an easy decision. And in the video that I posted last night when the news dropped was typically you don't see a major decision like this, like getting rid of a head coach, firing a head coach, uh, one in the middle of the season, and two when it's not attached to a bye week. And our bye week isn't until week 13, and so we're still a few weeks away from that. And sometimes coaches or owners would wait for that bye week. And I said in my video last night, I said, or I'm sorry, I take that back. My instant reaction video after our loss to the Detroit Lions, I said, why not cut the cord? Why not let him go? We have the Giants coming up, which is a beatable team. We have the Jets after that, which is a beatable team. They're both at home. I don't know if you want to wait until week 13 because we have an extremely hard second half of the season. So it's not an easy decision for Mark Davis to make. And given the fact that Josh McDaniels is still I think he has about 4.5 years remaining on his contract. So without, barring any negotiations on that contract, I mean, he's going to get paid out. He's going to get paid a pretty penny to basically, sit back, relax, and enjoy some football in his family. And so that's not an easy decision for Mark Davis to make. And there has been some reports that he reached out to some of the captains on the team, some of the veterans on the team, and kind of got their opinion as to what route to go. And I respect that. So as much as I don't agree with a lot of the decisions that he's made, hiring Josh McDaniels being one of them, I'll give credit where credit is due, and he made the right decision. And so, Mark Davis, we definitely credit you for that. You've almost given this fan base, this entire, um, the entire locker room, just new life. I mean, I feel like Christmas came early. So, credit to you for making that move. Um, Now, one thing I want to touch on is the press conference. So earlier today, Antonio Pierce did address the media. He had his first press conference as the interim head coach, and being an ex-coach, but also being an ex-player, I played this game for a long time. Listening to his press conference, man, it gave me chills. It really did. It almost made me want to strap the pads back on and suit up and go out there because the things that he was saying, just the demeanor that he had, the it almost felt like the control that he had over that room just emulated out of him. I mean, that's what we need. We need someone that is going to command the attention of our players. And I think that's what we have with Antonio Pierce. When he said I was born a Raider, you can see in his face, you can see in his eyes, you can see in just his delivery of that reigns true. Born and raised out of Compton. He knows what the Raider fan base is looking for. He understands what the history of this franchise is, and I think he's going to bring it. He is going to bring it, and I think the Raider fan base and the Raider locker room is ready for it. So we're excited. Um, and one of the questions that he was asked was, who's going to start at quarterback? And without hesitation, he said Aiden O'Connell is our best quarterback. without hesitation, and I loved it. A lot of times you see coaches, they will kind of tiptoe around questions and stuff like that. And he was blunt and to the point. And he said, Aiden O'Connell gives us the best chance. He is our best quarterback, cut and dry. And he gave it to the media, and I love it. So that's exciting news that Aiden O'Connell will start this this upcoming matchup against the New York Giants. So I know we're all excited. I am excited. One thing I want to do is kind of, as much as this core of players is solid, I think we have great weapons on offense. I think the defense is building something that can be that can, I don't want to say great, but a defense that we can rely on. Let's put it that way. I think they're building something, but I think at the same time, we got to tailor just some expectations, right? A change like this is very drastic, and it takes just a great collective effort to try and come out of this with success. And so, to me, I think, if you look at it, right, personnel is already in place, right? The players already in place. Free agency has come and gone. He's not going to have an opportunity with the draft. We're midway through the season. Offensive schemes are already put in place. Defensive schemes are already put in place. And so there's not much that Antonio Pierce can do at this point except really rally the troops, motivate the heck out of this locker room, and play for a purpose. And so, I want to tailor the expectations. I'm not expecting Antonio Pierce to all of a sudden take us to a Super Bowl, right? We still have a chance at playoffs, but I'm going to tailor the expectations. I'm going to really look at the aspect of, I want to see us competitive. I want us to start to do some things that really put us in positions to win football games. And if we win them, great. If we don't, as long as we're put in the position to win those football games, or if we're seeing us really trying to maximize the talent that we have on this team, right now, that's all I'm looking for. And so I am excited about this upcoming matchup against the Giants. And you know, at the end of the day, I think we're finally moving in the right direction. Um, but what can change, right? I just kind of went through, tailor your expectations, but what can change? What can Antonio Pierce kind of do right now in this moment until the end of the season? Because we got 9 games left, so there's still a lot of season left. What can he do? And I think one of the things that he can do is he can start to change the culture, right? I think he can start to implement the culture that a lot of us the Raider Nation, um, the old alumni. Every preseason there is an alumni game where we see alumni come to the stadium and they talk to the current players. I think he can start to change the culture. I think he can start to regain confidence in our core in this team. I think there was a lot of confidence that was lost, uh, probably within the last, I'd say, 3-4 weeks. Even though we had the back to back win streak, um, I think that I think we can regain some confidence in this locker room, um, and start to build and rebuild relationships. I think there's some torn relationships with Devontae Adams. You can see him slamming his helmet on the ground in the sideline the last game, and I think this is an opportunity to kind of help rebuild relationships, not only relationships with the coaching staff, but relationships within each other. So there was some reports that in the locker room there were some cliques going on. Players hang out with certain groups and not gelling as a whole. I think you can rebuild the relationships in this locker room and potentially have a good foundation to build off of heading into the off season. Um, and then I think for him, it's, address any issues that has kind of sparked over these last, 8 weeks. I think some repairing needs to be done. And if he can focus on that and also help motivate these guys, I think that's a great starting point for him to gain that rapport. Because even though he's the interim head coach, everybody needs to keep in mind at the end of the day, he's also trying to win the head coaching job. So build those relationships with the players, not just on a football level, but on a personal level. That's one of the greatest things that came out of Rich Bisaccia, before he left, is the players respected Rich Bisaccia as a man because he didn't just care about them as football players, he cared about them as people. And if Antonio Pierce can come through and really start to reach out to them on that type of level, which I think he can because he's a player, he understands what they're going through. He understands the highs and the lows of a football season. So I think he can be a coach that can reach out to them on a personal level and make them feel like they're cared across the board in this organization. And when you feel like you're cared for, you'll run through a wall for somebody. And I hope that's what Antonio Pierce can develop, because I really don't think we saw that with the players with Josh McDaniels. Um, and what I'm going to kind of end with, and I said this in my free agency video that I dropped um, uh, the day before free agency was going to end, is I am extremely happy that the Raiders didn't make any moves prior to the free agency deadline. When I dropped that video, I basically said, "Look, here's a couple players that I think we can get based on how we play against the Detroit Lions on Monday night, and stuff like that." But at the end of that video, I basically stated that I would be perfectly fine if they didn't make a single move at all. Why? Is because I expected Josh McDaniels to get fired. I didn't know if it was going to be in the middle of the season. I didn't know if it was going to be the end or if they were going to wait for the season to be done. But I had a feeling that Josh McDaniels was going to be fired. And I didn't want them to make some drastic move like getting rid of Devontae Adams, getting rid of Hunter Renfrow or something like that, where the next coach isn't as attracted to the core of this team. And we've kept this core together. We have all the offensive weapons any coach would desire. And we have a defense that is starting to gain momentum and build. And I think if we continue to build off of this and the core that we have, there's going to be a lot of head coaches that I think could look at our roster and think of it as a very attractive, very enticing team to come and lead. So that's kind of my take, guys. It's been an eventful 24 hours. I appreciate you checking in. I appreciate you sticking with me. If you can, please hit that subscribe button, like the video, turn on those notifications. I'm going to hit you in just a couple days with my pregame analysis of our upcoming matchup against the New York Giants. But it's been a crazy 24 hours. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. And until the next video, I'm out, guys.